Welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. I would like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners from around the globe. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube page, and share this video podcast on all social media sites you are on, such as Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen. This video podcast is available in three forms: audio, video, and as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. I am the founder and president of GRACAM, the Grassroots Community Activist Movement. Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast is our black media component. For those of you who don't know me, then get to know me by purchasing and reading my story. Quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, 2nd edition. It's available as an ebook for $9.99 or as a paperback for $15 plus shipping and handling. I provide the link to my Amazon author page in the comment section below this video podcast. After you have read my story, and if you agree with my vision and plan to improve Black America, specifically Black Chicago, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform, get on camera, and let's talk about it. And encourage others to get involved with our cause and back this film project. We have upgraded our platform by moving from an audio podcast to a video podcast using StreamYard. We want to interact with our audience in real time through Facebook Messenger during our live stream. I created GRACAM in order to connect with other like-minded Black Americans, like-minded African immigrants within the United States of America, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, and Afro-Brazilians, as well as continental Africans. I encourage everyone on my Facebook page, everyone in my social groups who are Black entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs, Black artists, African artists, Black authors, African authors, musicians, poets, community advocates, and spiritual leaders to make arrangements with me to come on this platform so that you can promote your products and services or share a 30-minute sermon with my listeners from the global community. We want to grow this platform for the global African community throughout the diaspora. For 33 years, Black Americans have taken me as a joke, specifically Black Chicagoans. They have rejected and overlooked my vision and plan to help improve Black America. All I have is my revised book, my virtual store, my online groups, and this platform. My film project is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group, Black Americans, before I cut and run to the African continent. I am seeking those of you from Black America, like-minded Black Americans that are brave enough, smart enough. Make yourself known to me. Work with me while I am alive. Don't wait until I am dead. Same thing for African immigrants here in the United States of America. Work with me while I am alive. Don't wait until I am dead. This is why I'm reaching out to African immigrants in America to help speed up the process. I encourage African immigrants in America from the following African nations: South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria. Please purchase my revised book, either the ebook or the paperback, and read my story. If you agree with my vision and plan to help improve Black America, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform and let's talk about it. And also let's encourage others to back this film project. Share my information with all your friends, including your non-black friends. This will help speed up the process. Our aim is to raise $250,000. We are using crowdfunding. We have a GoFundMe page and we also have a PayPal page. If you are U.S. citizens, then I recommend that you use our PayPal page as a tax write-off because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit, faith-based, and community advocacy organization. In my Christian business, we will raise the bar in Black America. We will separate ourselves from con artists, the black boule, degenerates, democratic shills, hardened criminals, pedophiles, off-code Negroes, and urban terrorists. Those who reject my vision and plan will not be part of my Christian business because this will be membership-based. We will pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. The question at hand, how long will it take for us to get this film project fully funded and made? Again, the answer is it's up to the Black grassroots and the global African family because this is not my burden alone. This is a shared burden. We encourage non-black sympathizers to patronize our film project, but it's Black Americans and African immigrants who are GRCAM members' responsibility to build it and to own it. I try to host my show every week in order to engage people on my friends list and people in my social groups until I am able to get my film project fully funded and made. And once the proceeds from the film starts coming in, then I will be in a better position financially to purchase property in Chicago, buy office equipment, hire qualified Black middle-class professionals and African immigrants within the United States of America to work with me in building my Christian business, Grakai of Chicago, which is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, for credibility before I cut and run to Africa. I refuse to be ignored. Again, this is why I created this platform. This is why I do video podcasts, because I want to be heard loud and clear, especially throughout the Black world. Those of you who will work with me and Sister Renee as it pertains to this film project will go down in history with us. Lord knows I would like to do more than just news and social commentaries. But at this point, I'm on a shoestring budget. All of my funds go towards bill, food, and rent. Without financial support from the Black grassroots and the global African family, then I am unable to do my God-given assignment, and that is to build the best African-American business within the United States of America. This is a Nehemiah assignment. I do not operate like the next black man. I have my own style and way of doing things. You don't have to like me, but you will respect me because I respect everybody. Those who reject my plan for the past 33 years will not be part of my Christian business, again, because it's membership-based. The sooner we get this film project fully funded and made and established in America, specifically Chicago, Illinois, the sooner I can turn the business over and expand it to the African continent. Instructions on how to participate on the show. First, watch my video presentation. This is called Side A. After I finish my presentation, then I will open up the phone lines through YouTube and drop a link in the StreamYard studio so that you can interact with me in real time on camera. This is called Side B. The title of this presentation, Lessons Learned from the U.S. Presidential Elections 2024. My political analysis. I provide video clips and news articles to back up my claim. I encourage all of my listeners to go to my Medium transcript, which is located in the comment section below this video podcast. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. Kamala Harris practically led votes in this election. Out of the 538 electoral college votes, you need 270 to become the U.S. president. According to projections and leads, Harris got 226. She couldn't win in a single swing state, not one. She failed to outperform President Joe Biden in 2020 record in a single state. She lost ground with female Latino voters and Asian voters. Where did she go wrong? I believe it was baggage from the Biden administration. The issue was the economy and illegal immigration. Harris' historic attempt to become the first female president of the United States has been squashed. Former President Donald Trump is returning with a bigger mandate. Kamala Harris failed to outperform President Joe Biden's 2020 record in a single state. Trump swept all 7 swing states. Kamala Harris lost grounds with white female voters. 54% women voted for Harris. That's 3% less than what Biden had won in 2020. She also lost out on Latino and Asian voters with a loss of 6% in votes compared to Biden's win in 2020. So where did it all go wrong for Kamala Harris? First, I believe that Kamala Harris was not battle tested. She had been running for president for about 16 weeks against a man who's been running for 9 years. Secondly, Harris overemphasized reproductive rights while blaming Trump on abortion bans. Donald Trump said he is proud that he overturned Roe versus Wade. This was great for Harris. It was her party's strength. It was supposed to bring in last-minute voters surge, but what Harris forgot is abortion was only one issue. It was not the main issue for American voters. She has been vice president for 4 years. The rise of inflation with a poor economy was seen as her administration's faults, which weakened her political campaign. The third reason why things went wrong for Kamala Harris was illegal immigration and the lack of protecting the border. 20% of voters considered that the most important issue. Illegal immigration in the United States was lower under the Trump administration. Illegal immigration surged during Biden-Harris administration, and again, Harris was held accountable. The fourth reason why things went wrong for Kamala Harris was the baggage from the Biden administration. Kamala Harris made it worse during an interview. She was asked if she would do anything different than Biden, and she said quote, "There's not a thing that comes to mind." The Trump campaign played her interview during their rallies and on their campaign ads. Despite all the star power from celebrities, media coverage, and record fundraising campaigns, she was unable to beat Trump. I believe race and gender played a role because of sexism, but gender played a major role in American politics. Trump has been victorious in 2 out of 3 bids for president. He lost to a fellow white man but defeated both women, paving the way for Trump's so-called greatest comeback. Kamala Harris lost the 2024 presidential election, has left many surprising questions. The factors behind her failure. Harris failed to outperform former President Joe Biden's 2020 record in a single state. She underperformed among Asian voters, black male voters, white female voters, and Latino voters, dooming her chances to beat Trump. The mainstream media is trying to minimize the black male vote, but in Texas there was a huge spike of black male voters who voted for Trump. They don't want us to know our power. During election night, I was monitoring things very closely. On X, Instagram, and TikTok, you're seeing this trend of black women speaking out against black male voters. Some of them are tethers, and a lot of them are just doing a performance. Many of them are feminists or LGBT, and they're complaining about Kamala's losing. I saw one video of a sister encouraging her peers to withhold sex for 4 years in protest of Trump's win. After the election, I noticed a lot of the Democratic shields are talking like us and wanting to delineate from these other groups. For example, on X, I read a post from Luke Campbell. He said, quote, "New rules, no more saying black and brown people. It's just black, okay? They just gave us the finger," unquote. Hold up. You all are supposed to be on that black and brown, Asian, and LGBT coalition for the Democrats. What's going on? I found a video clip from the Associated Press exit polls showing minorities and young voters for Trump in Texas, ABC News 13. To watch the full video, just go to my Medium transcript, which is located in the comment section below this video podcast. Click on the link and scroll down to show and prove. Basically, the polls showing the numbers from 2020 among race and gender, which is the demographics. According to the data, among black males, Trump has improved his support by 20 points. Black men in Texas voted this time for Trump at 34%, while black women voted for Trump at only 1%. Now, Latino men in Texas voted for Trump at 53%, while Latino women voted for Trump at 48%. So when the mainstream media says black men only voted 12% for Trump, that's across the nation, but when you start breaking it down state by state, then you get a better idea about black male voters. There's a lot of black men who voted for Trump. I found a TikTok video about how black Americans are reacting and mindset of many black women. Some of them are talking about breaking away from being inclusive and starting delineating from these other groups. I've been telling black Americans that we need to delineate from these other groups because we can't get things done for our group or our people if we're always fighting for other people's causes. Our cause, help stop the genocide in American ghettos, have little to no traction. Black Americans using all of their energy at advancing everybody else, then once they get what they want, all of a sudden these other groups turn around and show no appreciation or assist us with our cause. I'm so glad to see black Americans starting to wake up. If only they would embrace my plan and vision to help improve black America, starting in Chicago, then we could turn around our communities and neighborhoods within 2 years. All of these have come out for this election. If this is what it will take for everyone to be on code with our community, then by all means, I'm glad Kamala Harris lost and glad Trump won. Black Americans don't have a common cause with these other groups because none of these other groups were enslaved by the American government. We have been preserved the lives of our own people who are the most vulnerable people in the United States of America. Notice these other groups don't care about our community. It was trending to pretend they cared about George Floyd because there is no real change. Black men and women are still being harmed. A lot of young black Americans are caping for the Palestinians, fighting for white women issues, Latino issues, and Asian issues. This goes back to the legacy of American slavery. Many black Americans have that slave DNA, which is Willie Lynch. Slaves are meant to serve everybody else's interests while practicing a aesthetic lifestyle. Remaining on that democratic plantation is another form of a slave mentality. When you continue to vote for other groups to benefit off your vote while you are being overlooked due to benign and neglect policies. On this platform, we encourage CAM members to demand economic tangibles in the forms of lineage-based cash payment reparations for descendants of American slaves / freemen. We also demand to have an anti-black hate crime bill. This election just showed you that the Democratic Party is all about protecting the privilege of white women. To understand what I mean, read the book, quote, "They Were Her Property," unquote, where these other groups during the crack epidemic or mass incarceration, they have shown you in 2016 that they are not voting with you. They have shown you in 2024 they are not going to trade in their privilege for you. That's their toxic relationship in their community. It has nothing to do with us. It's called self-preservation. Other groups understand it, but once again, the slave mentality within black society does not. We believe that our self-preservations hinges on joining with other people to ally with us. For example, we're pushed for reparations over here. We're prioritizing our issues first. All these illegal immigrant women are getting free food, shelter, medical assistance, and private job fairs. Yet black women are struggling in America while illegal immigrant women are being prioritized by the Democrats. I read an article from AOL entitled, quote, "DNC officials call Harris campaign a $1 billion disaster," unquote. To read the full article, just go to my Medium transcript, which is located in the comment section below this video podcast. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. Kamala Harris had $1 billion to work with. She had access to all these celebrities and still was unable to beat Trump. By October, she only had $180 million. Trump didn't spend that much, and yet he won the election. This election showed that all these celebrities from Charles Shemaine, Ricky Smiley, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, and Boulay Barton have no relevancy They did not move the needle. I know all of them got a bag. The Democrats need to drop that left-wing progressive stuff and go back to the middle, and most importantly, do right by black Americans. We have to prioritize ourselves, black men and black women. At the end of the day, we have to focus on self-preservation. What is self-preservation? It's the protection of oneself from harm or death, especially regarded as a basic instinct in human beings and in animals. It's my hope that GRCAM members will heed my call to move from behind the computer so that together we can build GRCAI of Chicago. This will be a place where we can all meet up in real life, have social interaction while looking out for one another, just like other groups do. When other groups vote, they're thinking about their group interests. I'm glad a lot of black Americans thought about our interests in this election. A lot of black Americans are struggling financially in this economy. Black men voted for the economy because we need finances. None of these other groups are going to care about white women issues. They are only caring about their own interests. Ever since the Biden-Harris administration, they've been indicting these black mayors and their inner circle, left and right. But when Trump was in office, I didn't see him indicting a bunch of black mayors. Black women have been the vanguards for every social movement in this country, but when we need help for our cause, there's no one there. I shared with GRCAM members many times before that if we solve our own issues at the grassroots level, we are advanced much faster. Many of these other groups are against reparation because they feel if we can't get it, then they can't get it neither. We need to be just like that. If we can't get it, then they should not be able to get it neither. Notice when we try to do something specifically for our group or people, all of a sudden, people like Edward Bloom shows up. We need to start suing too. We have all these black lawyers on X and TikTok talking about they are corporate lawyers. Where y'all at? Don't just, advertise your stuff online. People want to see you in real life. This is why it's very important for us to get GRCAI of Chicago up and running so that we can go after these other groups, just like Edward Bloom, suing these other groups for having programs that's race-based. We need to look out for our group or people because nobody is going to look out for us. These so-called black organizations like the NAACP, the Urban League, and the Congressional Black Caucus are just front organizations that's being funded and controlled by the white supremacist financial elites. A majority of these black politicians are bought and paid for, do nothing for black America. 33 years I have been reaching out to black Americans online and in real life. But for some strange reason, I'm just unable to connect with black Americans. Because the ones I run across, all they want to do is talk. I'm about taking action in a constructive way, like trying to raise funds to get my film project fully funded and made and put on the big screen in order to reach the black masses and the black world. If you are not registered to vote, then what's the point of fighting for black America? We need to mobilize our people across the United States of America through GRCAI of Chicago, because if we run across a black politician that don't share our interests, then we have to vote him or her out of office. How can you get them out of office if you're not registered to vote? I am not interested in running for public office. I am just trying to get my Christian business up and running in order to have a safe space for our children and their families. What we did in this election was let the Democrats and Republicans know that black male voters are getting on code and we're woke. It's not just the black men, it's also shout out to black women. I am not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican. I am independent, and I vote on policies that serve my interests. When you look at the data, we are the only people that supported Kamala. She overwhelmingly won the majority of the black male vote and the black female vote. However, the majority of black voters, especially from the black grassroots, either did a protest vote or set it out. And that's why she lost the election. We're done with white liberal women, and clearly there's no people of color coalition. I explained to you all that the DNC inflated her numbers. I kept telling y'all she was going to lose. It was us that caused her the election. The descendants of American slaves / freedmen, black grassroots. We shut it down, and that's what it was. The benefits under the Trump administration will be those deportations. That's going to benefit us because our tax dollars will no longer be thrown away, feeding, housing, and giving all sorts of benefits to these non-citizens who spat in our face. That's the benefits of getting them up out of here. Imposing all this sex education on our children in public school, that's a benefit. Fixing the American economy is also a big benefit. We didn't get the main prize, which was reparation, but boy, the consolation prize are really good. In this election, it's my hope that GRCAM members can finally understand our collective power, strength, and resilience, which were passed down through our ancestors who built the United States of America from scratch. Elections come and go, but black issues will remain. I need all of my listeners, domestically and worldwide, to help me get my revised book on that bestsellers list, and for you all to back up this film project so that together, black Americans and African immigrants who become GRCAM members can build the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago for credibility throughout the black world and for generations to come. I predict that this election was going to be a repeat of 2016, and that's how it turned out. Kamala Harris made a number of mistakes. If she had given economic tangibles, even just a anti-black hate crime bill to black Americans, the same way she did for the Asian community, then she would not have lost the presidency and both houses of Congress in a single night. The Democrats prioritize non-citizens, foreign countries, but continue to practice benign and neglect policies against their most loyal voters, black Americans. They made it clear that they are more concerned about people who aren't even citizens than they are about black Americans. We have an agenda of our own, and we're going to continue pursuing that regardless of the election. The mainstream media would never admit that the black vote played a big role in this election because they're determined to never do anything that validates our power at the grassroots level. Trump's victory changed nothing for us on reparations. It may be good on immigration if he takes a hard line on that issue. Remember, Republicans cater to corporations who rely on illegal immigrants for cheap labor. and the banks who also rely on them for remittance fees. If Trump wanted to stop illegal immigration, then he would punish the businesses who employ them, and he would push legislation to stop banks from letting them send money back to their homeland. But since everybody makes so much money off of this, I doubt he will fix the issue at the federal level. But at the very least, if we cannot be all equally comfortable, we're all going to be equally uncomfortable. That's my take from this election. Black men and black women stood on business. This was the black vote. We showed them that we can tip the scales in the Democrat favor or against them. They've ignored us for 60 years, and we showed that we could politically punish them by ignoring them or doing a protest vote. What happened here is an enormous political humiliation for them. This is going to be remembered as the greatest single political comeback in American history for Trump. It wouldn't have happened if all Democrats had treated black voters like a constituents instead of defying us, insulting us, and ignoring us. Now they're reaping the results. Donald Trump won all of the battleground states. This is the failure of the Biden-Harris administration. They lost the presidency in both House of Congress in a single night. Trump and his administration is going to come into office controlling the executive branch and the legislative branch. Democrats was not on the ballot. Getting black voters to accept nothing, that's what it was, and we turned that down. The Democrats are not running against the Republicans, but rather against black empowerment. The lessons to be learned is when you make insults against black Americans, the foundation of your presidential campaign, you will lose. Kamala Harris has to live with the fact that she lost the election to a guy who tried to overthrow the government 4 years ago. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and First Lady Michelle Obama will also have to live with a second humiliation defeat at the hands of the Orange Man. That's the lessons to be learned. You all try to talk down to us, especially black men, and this is the result of your action. Abortion will not be a substitute for having an actual black agenda. Offering black Americans legal marijuana ain't gonna cut it. There will be no end running around the black vote. What this election proves, and we're not going to insult or humiliate us to the polls either. This election was hinged on whether black voters turn out in large numbers like 2008. Kamala Harris did everything she could to avoid facing black voters, holding political rallies where she had selected celebrities behind her political campaign. She was hoping that all that star power would be enough to get her around answering questions. Just holding rallies and doing political theater by visiting a few black barbershops is no substitute for concerned black voters with questions. It appears that she was dodging questions and manufacturing photo ops for clout. We heard a whole bunch of gibberish and word salad. These politicians want our vote without offering us any economic tangibles, but rather trying to scare us to the polls, like talking about Project 2025 or shaming us to the polls. Anything except actual incentives to get us to the polls. They're determined not to do anything for the black vote. She was nominated by the DNC bigwigs after Joe Biden's poor debate with Trump. One of the things that we pride ourselves on in this platform is informing our listeners about political landscapes before it occurs, making sure that our listeners are forewarned ahead of time. I think that nobody's more humiliated right now than Barack Obama. The Democrats were saying that after this election, Donald Trump would be gone forever. But instead, now it's Barack and Michelle who are gone. This proves Obama has lost his legitimacy among black Americans and he cannot swing the black vote. I remember he told black Americans we have to protect his legacy, and instead we destroyed it because we voted for him twice and he did absolutely nothing for the African American community. Kamala's entire political strategy was to run on abortion and legal marijuana. She avoided tough questions by talking with people like Charlemagne. This second devastation loss to the Orange Man isn't going to prompt the Democrats to give us economic tangibles and an anti-black hate crime bill. They're not about to change their talking points. They're scared now because this wasn't supposed to happen. They had to acknowledge the effect that we had on the Electoral College, and that was something that angered them because it meant that a critical mass of black Americans have now unplugged their treadmill. According to the Democrats, we're supposed to do everything they tell us. We're not running to the Republicans. We're simply walking away. Kamala Harris' entire political strategy was based on abortion disguised as reproductive rights. They went all in trying to attract young white female voters to replace black voters. I have explained to PRCAM members for years that the strategy wouldn't work because they vote for him in large numbers, but you won't hear anyone trying to shame them like they do us. Hillary Clinton is a white woman, and those white female voters didn't go ally for her. They put their race before their gender because we live under a system called white supremacy. Those white female voters that the Democrats were desperately hoping to win over, they don't owe their position in the world to their gender. They owe it to their race. They know it's not abortion that gave them their position. It's called white supremacy. The very Republicans who outlawed abortion in the first place, now it's a moral issue. The Democrats were pushing abortion in hopes that it would get white women to turn out in huge numbers, and that would also lift their down ballot candidates. The Democrats decided to give all these other groups benefits and resources except black voters. This has cost the Democrats the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. The Republicans got a clean sweep during this election. What I take away from this is that the Orange Man officially got his mojo back. He has a mandate that's what you call it when you win the White House in both houses of Congress, and unlike the Democrats, Trump is going to be working to make sure he produced for the people who put him in office, unlike the Democrats who lied to us, and once they are in office, they start practicing benign neglect. 4 years ago, Trump said his um, election was stolen. Now it will be seen as validated, even though the same election official said that he lost in 2020. The mainstream media wanted to convince everyone that there was some sort of horse race going on, but as the early returns came in, they began changing their tune and reporting that the country was hungry for change. Like I mentioned many times before, the mainstream media tries to manipulate the masses in order to manufacture the outcome that they want. They view the new black voices of media as online agitators in the information age. Notice the mainstream media tried to lie and claim that after Obama was finger wagging, insulting, and disrespecting black men, all of a sudden black men were moving towards Kamala Harris. We've been the ones leading the charge on this. The mainstream media has a monopoly on news because of the system of white supremacy. Whenever the mainstream media reports on something, that signals a boost because they control what we see on TV or hear on the radio. They can't talk about the new black voices of media because that would spread our message, the gospel of truth with facts, to more people, which means we would become more popular than what we are now. The mainstream media tries to ignore us in hopes that this will make us go away. Black America didn't want to vote for Biden, but they did it anyway, even though he wasn't offering us anything. The Democrats saw black Americans voting in large numbers for Obama twice in a row after he routinely publicly insulted us. Black voters were back on that treadmill, or what I would like to call the Democrat plantation. What does all this mean for the grassroots community activist movement? Members, it means we're going to have to start selecting people from the soil who are GCAM members, and also I need for us to move from behind a computer. I need boots on the ground right here in Chicago. We got to start being proactive and getting things on the ballot. I still need the black grassroots and the global African family to support our film project so that I can do my job. That's the plan here. Don't let anyone take credit for what happened to Kamala Harris' defeat at the polls. It wasn't Muslim voters. There's not enough of them to make a difference in any election. It wasn't the Latino voters. The only ones who didn't abandon their principles and stood on business were black voters. We're here for the new generation of black youth and African youth across the United States of America and throughout the diaspora. Our family and our community has been neglected for far too long by these so-called black politicians who are in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. We learned that politics is not about building a so-called coalition with all these other groups. We're focusing on building an alliance with African immigrants who reside in the United States and connecting with other like-minded black Americans who are brave enough and smart enough to turn my plan and vision into a reality. For 400 years, we've allowed this cesspool of nothing moves unless it hurts black Americans. We reject that notion. Those of you who are Democrats, let me give you a word of advice. All of the name calling needs to stop. Saying things like, he's so racist. Well, America is full of racist people, and also, as long as we continue... I lost my connection, and that's okay. Bear with me. Listeners, just bear with me. All righty. Gonna get that back. Give us a thumbs up, please. We as black men don't want to be labeled as misogynists. Another thing that doesn't sit well with black men is this deep hatred of men. For example, First Lady Michelle Obama publicly told women to undermine their household by not telling their man or husband who they are going to vote for. We view that as a way to undermine male leadership in the household. You're overstepping your boundaries. Know what I'm saying. No man in his right mind would vote for a political party like that. Another thing that turns off black men is your anti-traditional family. Democrats have prioritized everything else except the traditional family. All of us are not down with this alternative lifestyle. Democrats have squandered the American dream for many people. Your political party promotes division in the black family in terms of gender. I don't see that coming from the Republican Party. We had enough. Your political party is prioritizing non-citizens over American citizens, which is very disrespectful. Your political party is encouraging illegal immigration because they are being rewarded for breaking state and federal law. Your political party has created sanctuary cities which create a double standard for those of us who are law-abiding citizens. To add insult to injury, your political party is allowing these illegal immigrants to cross the border without vetting them, and they are dumped into the African American community, a community that is already lacking basic resources. They are giving all sorts of benefits and resources, yet we are still being denied our reparations. Give us economic tangibles in the form of lineage-based cash payment reparations for descendants of American slaves/freemen. We also demand an anti-black hate crime bill. Refuse my advice then. Your political party will continue to lose election after election because black men and men in general had enough. If Democrats were serious about winning the election, then they would have talked with the black grassroots and met our demands. If you want to redeem your political party, you need to re-examine your policies, especially as it pertains to black America. You cannot have Barack Obama and Michelle Obama talking down to us, especially those of us from the black grassroots. We ain't having it. Clear the board and restart from scratch. The Barack Obama brand of Democrats will keep you losing every time. Obama has no political clout in black America because for 8 years he practiced benign neglect. Now he is viewed as a tether. He did not chastise white men, Asian men, or Latino men, only black men, and for that he has lost all my respect. The Republicans respect manhood and masculinity. Democrats, if you want to continue losing election, then don't change a thing and see what the American people will do at the voting booth. They will continue to vote for Republicans or sit it out. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this video podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. Thank you all for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Put me on blast by telling all your friends and family to watch our content or on our YouTube page. I'm going to send a challenge out to everyone that's listening to this video podcast. I need you all to support our film project so that we can move beyond cyberspace and get our story on the big screen to let the black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for our people who are trapped in American ghettos, starting in Chicago. Quote, Hood Liberator made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins, unquote. You can be a part of this historic docudrama by contributing to our campaign either on our GoFundMe page or on our PayPal page, which will help fund marketing, promotion, clearance, legal, and general expenses. I would like to thank everyone who have contributed or will contribute to support us on our GoFundMe page, or if you're a U.S. citizen, then you can use our PayPal page as a tax write-off because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit, faith-based, and community advocacy organization. You can also purchase items from our virtual store or purchase my revised book. The ebook is $9.99, and the paperback is $15 plus shipping and handling. We appreciate your support. You can find all the links below this video podcast in the comment section. I want to thank all of you for listening to our audio podcast on Spotify. This will conclude our show for today. We will see you on the next episode. Peace and blessings.